Hi guys, welcome back to 33rd video tutorial of J2EE. So the previous discussion we have like the hidden fields and URL writing, and we have done it practically. So now we are going to discuss about the other two topics, which are the cookies and HTTP session. So the cookies and HTTP sessions are maintain more security compared to with the hidden fields, because we seen like how we can able to view the source code for hidden fields, and how to read the data from the URL, rewriting from the URL itself, as we are seeing here. So there is no security available with these technologies, and we have other technology with these in session tracking. The other one is the cookies. So the cookies are the one which actually saves the data within the client system itself. Suppose once you click on login, then the data will be saved within the client system itself, and once this user is querying the same request from the same browser, then the data will be accessed. Let me demonstrate it how it actually looks like. Let's assume this the browser's client system, which is a browser. So let me assume browser. So in browser, we'll be getting the login page, and this is your server where your servlets will be reside. Let's assume this is your database. Server where your servlets will be. So servlets will be available, and this is your database. And whenever user clicks on login, so what servlet will do, login servlet will actually communicate with the database, and it will authenticate that particular user, and it will return the response back to the users. And once the response is coming for the login, so once the response is coming from the login response from the servlet, then what will happen is one object will be created within the client browser. So the object name is the cookie. So login cookie will be created. So whenever the user is requesting for other pages, suppose he is requesting for a home page or like products page or home page, what are the page he's accessing. So within every page request, or so what are the other pages. So for other pages, what will happen is whenever a user is making a request, what will happen is the first step, it will take this cookie and it will bypass this to the servlet and to the server, and server will actually look for this cookie. So whether the data is available within the cookie or not, if it is there, then it will actually authenticate the user where he is a right user, and we can provide the info these pages access. So if the cookie is not there, then it will ask the login page again. So if the until unless the cookies are available, the server will not ask for a login for other pages accessing. And if the cookie is not there, then it will ask directly redirect to the login page. So that's how we can the cookies will be helping. So when you just need to have a one-time login, and otherwise once you click on login, then the cookie will be created within your browser itself. It's not from the server. And so once you click the other pages access, then it will reuse this particular cookie. So let's see how actually works like. And before that, let's see what are the types of cookies we have. So there are two types of cookies we have. One is non-persistent cookie, and persistent cookie. So what is a non-persistent cookie? So a non-persistent cookie, suppose if you're a valid user and if you just click on login, so whenever you just close the browser, so when you just close the browser, then the cookie will be deleted, and once you reopen the browser again, you have to give the login credentials. So the cookie will be expired when the browser is closes. And what is persistent cookie? The persistent cookie is like even if you close the browser also, it will not delete until unless you particularly go to the settings, browser settings, and if you delete the cookies, or you just need to click on logout. So this particular non-persistent cookie lifetime will be when you close browser, cookie will be deleted. But in terms of the persistent cookie, need to click on logout button. So until unless if you click on logout button, this persistent cookie will not going to be expired. So if you for non-persistent cookie, if you just close the browser, then cookie will be deleted. For the persistent ones will not be deleted until unless you click on the logout button. So that's about these uh, types of cookies, and let's see what and all classes and what and all interfaces we have it in servlets. So we have a cookies. Cookie is a class where we have it in Java Extra servlet .http. So within this package we have cookie class. So cookie is a class which is available in Java Extra servlet.http package. So with this class we have different constructors and methods are available. Let's see what and all constructors are there. So there are two types of constructors for the cookie class. The one is the default constructor, which is cookie. Other one is the parameter constructor. It takes two parameters. The one is string name of the cookie. The other one is the value for the cookie. So it's similar to the hash map whatever you know. So it's similar to the key pair values it will take, and or even if you just create with the constructor, you can set those values using the methods. Let's see the methods for the cookie class. So the first method will be set name. So you have to give the name, and obviously the other method will be get name to get this value. So whatever the value is set, it will return string type data. And the third method will be set value and the get value. String name and similar to get value, which returns the string type of object. So these are all the major four methods, and there is one more method which is set max age. So the set max age took the integer value, which means like what is the expiry for the cookie. So these are all the methods are available within the cookie. The first one is set name for setting the name, and get name for getting the name, and for setting value we have setter method, and getting value we have the getter method. and if you want to set the expiry for that particular cookie, we have set max age. So these are all the classes, and this is the class we'll be using, and these are all the constructor and methods we're going to use it in our example. So let me show you like the brief, like how actually the cookie object look like. So suppose in your code, if you want to add one of the cookie, the way to do this is you just need to create cookie ck equal to new cookie of. So I'm just giving parameterized one. The constructor, I'm taking the parameterized one. So let me take those values. So I'm just giving uname, and the value is admin. So once you're done with creating a cookie object with the constructor, then you have to add this particular cookie to the response object, because this will be keep it in the response object. Once when you're creating, you have to keep it in the response object. So response dot add cookie of ck. So there is a add cookie method available which in response class, which actually takes the cookie object as a parameter. So if you want to set the max age for this particular cookie, the way to do this is, even before adding to the response, you have to set it as ck.set max age. So if you want to set whatever the number you want, 10 or 100 or whatever the time you want to set it, you can set it. By default, the value will be the 0. If you want to set some particular value, you can set that particular expiry time for the set max age. So this is how you can able to implement your cookies, and we can see how to read the cookies if cookie is already created. So that so the adding cookies will be in the response object, and getting cookies will be in the request object. Request dot get cookies. So this is the method you have to use it, and it will return the cookie array of the response. So these are you can able to implement the cookies in your code. So we have covered. Let me recap it in brief. So cookies will be created within the browser, which is the client mission, and whenever you just click on the login, the cookie will be created with this particular code, like the cookie ck equal to new cookie of the username and password, or username and the value, and what are the details you want to keep it, and you can keep it. And if you want to set the max age to some particular time, you can give it in a max age. And once you're done creating the cookie, then you have to add to the response object. So once the login servlet is done, then you have to add it to the response object. And the second one is like once you created an cookie, then if you want to access that particular cookie, then you need to get it using the request object, which is request.getCookies. It will return all available cookies. So once you get all the available cookies, then within this you can able to get by the names, because we have the methods over here, get name of the value you have to give, and you will getting that particular name. So get name and get values. So okay, it's like similar to the hash map how we're seeing. So these are the overall the cookies looks like, and there are two types of cookies we have. One is non-persistent, which will actually the lifetime for that particular non-persistent cookie will be once you close the browser, then that particular non-persistent cookie will be deleted. And persistent cookie, this will expire only once you click on the logout button. So let's go to the practical and see how we can able to implement a cookie in our in application level. So I'm just creating a new login page and servlets for this particular implementation. So I don't want to use the existing the servlet, so because it makes confusion, because we already put a lot of codes like the hidden fields and you already written. We put a lot of code over there. Let me go and create a fresh files for this particular cookie explanation. So let me go to the Eclipse. Just closing all the tabs. So I'm just creating a new HTML. Let me give the HTML file. I'll name it this file as cookie demo. Just finish it. We'll be getting very nice designed cookie page, which is the login page. So I'm just giving cookie demo. So within the body, I'll be putting my code, which is a form. I'll be giving form. Within the form, I'll be having name, type text, and name I'm using username. So that's it. I'm not giving the passwords and all, and I'm just giving the submit button. Input type equal to submit. So that's it. So this is my simple form, which is takes the name parameter, and let me give the value is submit, or click on go, so you can give any value over there. So this will be the display name for us, and I just created a cookie demo HTML, and in this I just added a field and I added a submit button. So let me give a servlet, which is servlet 1. So the action I'm just giving servlet 1, and method I'm mentioning post. So that's it. I just created a very basic form which is targeting to servlet 1, and the method I'm mentioning post. So let me create a first servlet first. So I'm just creating a class which first servlet. So the way to implement servlet is like, just need to extends HTTP servlet, which is from Java extra.http, and I'm just taking a method which is the do post, because here this form actually targeting to the post method. That's the reason I'm mentioning do post. Let me clear this code, and here I'm just setting the response type. Response dot set content type as text or HTML. Creating a print writer. So now what are the value I have set it over here? I just want to get it. Let me import this. Control Shift O. Typo. So I just imported it. So now my print writer is ready to write the response, and before that I just want to get this data. So what are the data is passing here with the username? I just want to get that data. String uname equal to request start get parameter of username. So with this I can able to get this value, and I'm printing out dot print welcome user. So what are the name I'm giving? I'm just, it's your name. So what are the name he's entering from the browser? In the first servlet, I'm just printing that particular name. Now I got the name, so I need to create a cookie object here. So that I can create one more servlet where I can able to validate that particular cookie is available or not. So let me create a cookie here. You know the code, creating cookie. You can see the package which is from java x.servlet.http ck equal to new cookie of the name I'll be giving. So any name you can give it. So any name you can give it, and value I'm giving the username, or you can give login logged in user. So logged in user or anything you can give it in the name, and the value I'll be giving the logged in username. And now I don't need to have, I don't want to set the max age and all. Let me keep the default, and I'm just trying to add this cookie. The way to do this is you just need to add it to the response object. Response start add cookie of ck. So that's it. We have done adding the cookie. Now I need another servlet where I can able to access this particular cookie data, and so I don't want to have one more HTML. So let me have the HTML code created here, so that I just want to navigate to the next page where I just want to see the cookie setted value in the other servlet. So I'll be creating a second servlet which actually takes the setted value, what are the cookies created. I just want to access in the second servlet. Let me create a class second servlet, which is creating to make my cookie to read the value. So I want to read all the cookies are available. So I'm extending HTTP servlet from javax.htp. So now I need a method. Let me take a method which is to post. So any method you can take it. And now I want to read the data from the cookies, and I want to print it in the browser. So for that, what I'm trying to do is response dot set content type equal to text or HTML. So print writer. So I have these values ready. Now I need to read the cookies. So we have already said like how to read the cookies. These from request object, you can able to read the cookies. What are the values you have set it in the anywhere in the application, you can set the cookie values, and you can able to access in any other servlet. So I just want to read the cookies. Request start get cookies. So you have the cookies get cookies method available where you can able to read the cookies, and you are getting the cookies within the array object. So I'll be getting the values within cookie array. So let me import this. So the cookie is from java x.servlet.http.cookie, and now I need to print those values. So what are the values are available within the cookies? I just want to print them. So far I don't have any other cookies. I just want to print it from the zeroth element array. So element of array, because we are just adding one cookie itself, because we are aware of it. So I just want to get the first cookie, whatever is added in the application. So out.print of hello come again from cookie. So I'm just printing welcome again from cookie, the username. So what are the username we have? We need to get it. So username is the value. So for that, what I'm doing is ck array of 0 and get value. So that's it. If you get this data, then the data will be displayed in the output. So if some exceptions or errors might come, so let me put it in exception block, because we are reading the cookies. If that cookie is not available, there is a chance of getting exceptions. So I'm just keeping the particular code or the code we wrote within the exception block. Print this. It's good to have exceptions if you're aware of something gets wrong. So here there's nothing to get wrong, but I just want to keep it in. I just want to maintain the standards for coding. So I just created to explain. So I just created a cookie HTML page where I'm just passing the value username. So what are the name I'm passing? Suppose if I pass the username as James, so that names will be coming over the first servlet. Within the first servlet, once I get the name, I'm just setting that value in the cookie saying the logged in user. So the logged in user, one cookie is added to the response. The second servlet, I need to access this cookie. So what are the value is there within the first cookie. So before doing that, before running our application, we need to navigate from first servlet to second servlet. For that, I'm just adding some kind of HTML in the first servlet is first servlet. So let me add it. Dot print form action equal to servlet 2 action is servlet 2 and method I'm just putting post. Let me close this. So just created a form where I just want to have one submit button. So I'm just giving go to second page for the value. So what I'm doing is I'm just, instead of for navigating from servlet 1 to servlet 2, I just created a sample HTML which actually takes one form and it is navigating to servlet 1 and so it is servlet 2 and it is just having a button which is go to second page. In second page, once user clicks on go to second page, I'm just reading those values from the cookies and printing into the browser. So let me declare these servlets, first servlet and the second servlet in web.xml. So we know where web.xml resides. It's in web.webinf. So you need to declare over here. I don't want to declare over here for the servlet, and I want to use the annotation way, which is web servlet, which is from Java extract servlet, and I'm just giving the URLs. So now this is equals to our web.xml declaration, and for this one I'm just giving web servlet. So this saves a lot of time for us, and what is the code we have written, the servlet 2, it has to go. And now we have done with the code. So what we have done, we just created a HTML where we have username and it is going to the servlet 1. The servlet 1 is actually creating a cookie and it is having a form. If you just click on the form, then need to go to the second servlet. In second servlet, the data is read from the cookies and it display welcome again from cookie. Let's run this application and see how it works. See some error we are getting. Server failed to start. We'll see what is the problem. So here is the problem, like we haven't put the slash over here. That's the reason it's failing. Let me check. So we haven't put the slash, so we have to make sure we have to add the slash for the web servlet, otherwise it will throw the error, because we need to mention the URL properly in the servlet context. Let me start it now. So now our application is running fine. Let me go to the browser. So we have to go to the home page and we created a HTML which is about the cookie demo. Cookie demo.html. Think spelling. So we have this cookie demo.html and we have this field. Let me enter this page, this detail, the username for the cookie demo. And I'm just giving the user like the James. So what will happen is once I click on glow, what will happen is this will go to the servlet 1 and servlet 1 reads the data and it will print the outer welcome James, and then it will create a cookie with the logged in user. Let's see it now. It creates welcome James and it is showing the form, the other form which is we created, the go to second page. If you just click on the second page, it will navigate to the second servlet. Within the servlet 2, we need to read the cookies and we need to display what are the values are there in the cookies. Let me click on the second page. Now it went to the second page. It is showing welcome again from cookie, and the name it is telling. So the name, what are the name you are getting, it is actually getting from the cookie. It's not from the login page or something. So we just created a cookie and we are able to read the cookie from the other servlet. So that's how we can able to implement it. Let me go back to the cookie demo. You can see one more time. So I'm just giving the other name, which is Geo Thomas, entering go, and what will happen, it will go to the first servlet and there the cookie got created. If you just click on go next page, it will read the cookie from the it will read the name from the cookie and display the name from the cookie saying Geo Thomas. So that's how we can able to implement the cookies in our real time. So you can have cookies created in any place in any servlet. There is no restriction. You have to use it in the login page itself. So as we've seen, this is not our login page. It's simply a text field page. Or even if you have some data available in the database and you can keep it over there, and using getter methods you can able to loop it. And if you want to see all the cookies, because here we're just looking at the first element of the array, right? If you want to loop all the cookies, you can able to loop it and you can able to display all the cookies. The way to do this is cookie ck. I'm using for each loop, this out ck dot get name ck dot get value. So we just need to write. So let me restart the server because I'm just doing the changes in the second the Java file. So if you're making any Java changes in Java file, you need to restart the server. So what is expected is I'm just printing the cookies within the console. So I'm not adding to the output window. I'm just printing in the console. Let's see how all the cookies will be displayed. So if you have n number of cookies over there, so all the cookies will be displayed in the console. So let me enter. Let me go to the cookie demo page. I'm just giving the name James and click on go. And if you just click on the second page here, the second page we are actually listing down all the cookies. Clear this window. Just clicking on second page. Here if you see the logged in user James. So what are the name we put over there, that name is also coming, and James, the value also coming from the cookie objects. So these are you can able to manage your cookies in your application, and I'll show you where the cookies will be stored in a browser and how to delete it. And so the major disadvantage with cookies will be like user can able to delete cookie because it's in user hand. So if he wants, so he can able to delete the cookies, and again it will actually redirect to the login page. So that's a drawback we have with the cookies. And the sessions are the more advanced one. I'll show you how it is in an the next topic we can discuss about it. Now we can see where the cookies actually stored in the browser and how to delete those cookies. So this is my Chrome browser. If I want to see the cookies and if I want to delete those cookies, so let's go to the settings and just look for, even if you have a Firefox browser or whatever browser, you just look for the settings and cookies. So if you just look at the cookies, it is showing cookie options. Like if you want to clear the cookies, you can able to clear it, and if you want to manage site settings, there you can have the cookie related information. See here you have the cookies available. So what are the cookies? The set of cookies are added over here. If you want to delete those, if you want to delete all the cookies, you just need to go to the settings page, and if you just click on clear cookies, it will prompt here, and there you can see cookies. There are 14 sites cookies are stored. So these are, if you just click on this checkbox and click clear data, then it will clear all the cookies available. So if the cookies are deleted, then what will happen is this data will be gone. So once this data is gone, then what will happen, again it will redirect to the login page. So that's where these sessions are coming to the picture. And because in this case client can able to clear the cookies and he can do whatever he want, and but our code will not function how we expect, and every time we need to go to the login page. So to avoid that happen, and to make user not to be maintain his cookies and all, it's if some users can able to disable the cookies by checking the radio button, he can able to disable the cookies. That case our cookies will not be saved. Whatever the cookies you will be creating over here, add response dot add cookie, this is not going to be added because the browser settings the cookie got disabled. In that case this doesn't work out. So if you want to make your cookies work, then user has to enable the cookies in his browser. So that's the biggest headache for us, and to avoid that we have a solution called the sessions. The sessions, HTTP sessions are sessions or HTTP sessions, whatever you want you can call it, and the sessions are the one which creates at the server end, not at the client end. So login session, or this session object will be created at the server end. What will happen is whenever user is trying to access with this session ID, and this session ID will be stored in the browser window. Even if user deletes cookies and all, but session will not be deleted. Session is a different object that will not be deleted, and it will be saved in the browser. So the session ID will be stored in the different location in the browser, that will be saved in the browser. And if user wants to specifically, if you want to go specific settings, and if you can delete it again, it will navigate to the login page. But this here in login cookies, the whole data like username and password, everything will be holded within the user client browser itself. But in terms of session, this username and password, suppose in terms of cookie, you'll be having in the cookie itself, you will be having username and password. For the login, if he enters username and password will be saved in the login cookie itself. But in terms of sessions, it is saved in the server, so it is safe actually. So it will be saved in the server machine within the login session, and here the session ID will be there. It's kind of a hexadecimal code. So it will be in hexadecimal format. Within this format, this session ID will be there. It doesn't contain the username and password. So it is a secured. That's one thing. Another one is it is the username, like username and password is saved in login session. That's how it is secured, and it will be having the session ID. Even if a user deletes the cookies and histories, also nothing will happen for the session ID. So that's how the sessions are actually more advanced from the cookies. Let's see how to implement the sessions in real time. Let's assume there are two kind of requests are coming. So two requests are coming to the container, which is our Tomcat. Let's assume these two are request 1 and these request 2. So there are two requests are coming to the container. So the container, I can say it's kind of Tomcat or whatever the container you have. So I can say this is as our Tomcat. So Tomcat is a container here. And what will happen for each request, for whatever the request it's coming, for each request coming from the outside, one particular session ID will be generated. So one session ID for request 1 and other session ID for request 2. So for each and every request, one session ID will be created. With this session ID, user can able to access it. As I mentioned, this session ID will be created at the browser end, and so this server is actually creates this session ID, and it will keep this data in the browser. And server, what are the server application where the servlets reside, there we can have our session objects to be created. Let's see what all methods are available, and one by one, and then we can go to the practical example. Let's see how to create a session. So for creating a session, like we are for cookies, we'll be having a cookie class which actually used for creating a cookies, like cookie equal to new cookie and all we created, and but in terms of session it's a different from the cookie. So this particular HTTP session, you can get it from the HTTP servlet request. So from the servlet request object you can able to get it. Let's see how to get that. There are methods available in the request object, which is HTTP servlet request dot get session. This will returns you HTTP session as a return type, and this is the method we have to use for getting a session object. Or you can if you want to create a new session object, the way to do this is request dot get session of boolean create. So if you want to create, means that getting a session means it will actually get the existing session, and if you want to make this call, and every time you want to create a new session for each call, means you have to use this flag as true. If you put to get session of true, then it will actually create a new session, and the return type obviously HTTP session. And these are you can able to get the session, or you can able to create the session object. Let's see what and all methods are available within the session. The first method will be get ID, which actually returns the session ID, whatever we discussed, or that particular session ID, you can able to get it. So the return type will be string data type. The second method is void invalidate. So this particular invalidate, what it will do is it will actually makes the session to be invalid, means it will make the session expiry date to be set at now. So it like it is killing the session, or I can say it's making the session to be expired. So this kind of terminology we can mention for invalidate. So if you don't want the session to be used for in future, so you just want to invalidate, you can use this method. So let's see a login example, like how to implement a session, and using a new login page we can take it, and because this is required in real time, so people are using this one for developing the login pages and all, even for legacy projects. So there are a lot of projects are using this session concept to have the sessions to be validated. Let's go and implement a login page for separately for this particular sessions. So that's how you can get the clear picture out of it. Let's go and create a project, and where we can able to demonstrate our HTTP session. So it's kind of, I'm just creating a login page and a profile page, and a login logout button. So once a user clicks on login, then I will be creating a session for that, and until unless user clicks on logout, once user clicks on logout, then I'll be invalidating the session. So let's see in practical. So let me close all these files. So I'll be having a page which is a HTML file telling session demo. So here I'm using a tag saying login using HTTP session. So here I'm not using any database or something, I'm just using a session based authentication. So I'm putting href login.html. So I'll create this one. I can mention session login.html, and I'll be having one more anchor tag which actually looks for profile servlet. So profile page I'll be having, and finally I need to have a page which for logout. So these are all the pages I'm taking. I'm just taking a login and profile page and the logout. So these are all the three pages I'm going to implement. Let me have this. So to maintain all these links, so let me have one HTML file which will actually takes all the links. So for that I'm just giving the name as link.html. In this I'm just keeping all the links. So within links page I'll be having the same content. So the content we have in the session demo, same content I'll be keeping. So now I have done with the session demo on the link page. So let me create this session login.html. So HTML file. So within this I'll be having a form. The action I'm putting session login servlet. The method will be post. And now I'm just taking username and password. Type I have to change it to password, otherwise password will be visible to the user. So name also, let me keep it as password, and I need to have a submit button. Value equal to login. So anything I can give it here. So now I have done with the session login page. So let me go and implement this particular servlet, which is a session login servlet. New class, session login servlet. So I'm just extending HTTP servlet. And I'm implementing do post because it's a post method we have mentioned in the form. So as you seen, this is the post method. For that I'm just taking a post method. So now I'm just setting the response type to HTML. Set content type to text or HTML. Now we have to create a print writer object. Now we are ready with the code. Now whenever this login session login servlet come, then I just want to include the request the link HTML. So whenever this login session login servlet come, that time I just want to include this particular link servlet here. For that, what I'm doing is I just using request dot get request dispatcher of link.html dot include request and response. Now I need to get the details from the form. String name is equal to request dot get parameter of the name we have given, name, I think it's a name we have given, is name, and password will be the password. Get parameter of the password. So now we got the username and password. So I'm just validating whether these details are proper or not. If it is valid, then I'm just actually setting to the session object. So I'm just checking password equals welcome, then I'm just setting that value to the session. Before that, let me print that user welcome message. For that, print of welcome user, which is the name. Now I'll be setting that value. What are the value will be getting that name? I'm just setting to the session. So the way to get the session is request dot get session. So you'll be getting the session object. Just import it, which is from Java extra servlet.http session. So we got the session object ready. Now we have to add the value. To add the value, we have methods like set attribute of key pair values, name and the value. What are the value? So it's kind of a hash map, so you can set the values using set attribute. And if the user is invalid, means if the password is wrong, and that case just print sorry, user name or password invalid. And now I'm just redirecting to the login page, which is our session login demo. So I'm just navigating to the login page, and I'm just including the request and response. So once I have done this, I'm just closing the stream, which is out.close. So I'm done with the using the stream. I'm just closing that. So now we have done creating the login servlet. To make this configured, we need to add the URL, which is, so either we can add this to web.xml, or you can put the web servlet annotation. With this, you can need to pass the value, so that we are actually registering our servlet to the application. So let me create a other servlet which actually does the logout action. So the logout servlet will be the logout servlet. logout servlet. So let me put this as web servlet. And now we need to extend HTTP servlet. Within this, we need to set for the response types and all. Let me copy the code from here. So saves some time for us, and we need to have a method like. So here I'm not doing any form. I'm not getting any from the any form, right? I'm just getting using the do get method. Do get of. Within this, I'm just preparing the response object, and request dot get request dispatcher of link.html dot includes request and response. That's it. What we have to do in logout servlet, we need to invalidate the session. Means we need to make our request and response, and we need to we don't want the session is required in future. So once user clicks on logout, we need to delete that particular session. To make that happen, we need to get the session object, then we have to make the invalidate. Let me get the session using request dot get session, which is HTTP session. Once you get the session, you just make the imports happen, and now we are making the session is invalidate. So with this line, the session will be invalidate, and you just print the output saying you are successfully logged out. So that's it. So you're done creating the login and logout servlet. Let me go and create a profile servlet, which is the last file we left. Profile servlet. Web servlet. We need to extend HTTP servlet, and here also we are not performing any operations, means it's not coming from any from. So I'm just taking the do get method here. So the steps are almost same. So let me reuse the code from here. Till here. Now once I prepared the out statements, and now I have to get the session. Request dot get session. So here you need to put false. So if you put false, means I'm not interested to create a session. So if it is there, then only get it, otherwise don't get it. So let me get the session object. Let me import it. So I'm checking if session is not null, then get the name from the session. Name equal to session dot get attribute of the name. So whatever the name you have set it over there, that name you have to give it here. And this particular get attribute will return types of object return type, and we have to make the type casting with the string. So once you're done with, you're ready with the name. Now you can print your profile page saying out.print hello name, welcome to profile page. So if session is available, then we are actually getting the value and printing into hello message. And make sure this false need to be mentioned, otherwise it will actually create a session. And if you put false, then it is mentioning don't create a session. If the session is available, just get it and give me the values. So if the session object is not available, if it is null, then we are printing out.print. Just need to give please log in first. So we need to navigate to the login page. Which is our session login.html. So with this, so let me close the outstream. So with this, we can able to create all the files whatever is required. So the first one is we created a session demo which actually navigates to the session login page. Once you go to the session login page, there you can enter your username and password. And now we are not contacting to any database, and we're just contacting to the session object itself. Once user clicks on login, then we are getting the data within the session login servlet. And within the login servlet, we are actually creating a session object. So if you don't mention anything over here, it will actually create an object, and it will say we are setting a value with the name value. And once this is set, now we can check the profile servlet, which actually print the value from the session. So what is the value is available within the session, it just print it. And if you just click on logout, it will go to the login page by invalidating the session. So let me run this application and we'll see how it works. Okay, restart it. So this application is started. So we have to go to the session demo. .html. So these are page we have login using HTTP session. We are just login trying to use HTTP session. And let me go to the login page first. So here where we are entering the username and password, and make sure you have to enter the password as the welcome. Otherwise session it won't create a session, it will print the invalid login and it will go to the session login again. So I'm just giving some user which is James, and password I'm giving welcome. So once I click on login, what will happen is welcome James. It will go to the login servlet. Here it will create a session with the name, whatever the name we have. And to verify that whether the session object is created or not, we need to go to the profile servlet, where it will actually get the data from the session, and it will actually printing the value using get attribute. So let me go to the profile page. See, it is telling hello James, welcome to profile page. It comes to the profile page. And if you want to log out, then if you go to the logger servlet, there it will actually invalidate the session. Just click on logout. It will actually say you are successfully logged out. It will actually makes the session invalidate. If you try to access the page without logging in, suppose this page, if you're trying to access it, so now the application is logged out. So if you're trying to access the profile page without logging in, so what it will show, please log in first, because if the session object it's not created yet, so it's got invalidated, the previous session is invalidated. So now there is no session objects are available. Now if you just click on login, then it will ask you to log in first. See, it is asking please log in first, because the session object is not there. How many times if you click on profile page, it will simply ask for login. If I click with the proper details, welcome, once you click on login, it will saying welcome James, and if you just click on profile page, now it will show the details like hello James, this is profile page. If you want to log out, click on log out. So these are typical implementation used for in real-time applications all over the products, and make sure guys you should be very much practical in this, and try to implement your own example by taking this example as a reference. So these we have covered almost all the topics in the session tracking techniques. One is hidden fields and URL rewriting and cookies and HTTP session. So far for servlets, I'm just ending this series of tutorials here. The next tutorial we're going to cover the very important topic, which is the JSPs, which is Java Server Pages. That is very much interesting. So here we'll be looking at the more work on the Java files, but there you have the more user interface related work, and we can optimize a lot of code in the JSP pages. Let's discuss in next series of tutorials. So thanks guys, thanks for watching all kind of series of tutorials. So thanks for following. Thanks so much.